Our keynote for this afternoon is Dr. Lewis Harrison, Jr. He's a professor emeritus and former Charles H. Spence Senior Centennial Professor in Education in the Department of Curriculum and Instruction at the University of Texas at Austin. He is also the co-founder of a very significant organization when it comes down to researching the plight of black student athletes, the Black Male Education Research Collection. I told him this morning I swiped some of his work. It was properly cited, though, and some things that I wrote over time. Again, if you haven't read anything by Dr. Harrison, please take the time to do so. Dr. Harrison's academic research has focused on race-related stereotypes, African-American athletic and racial identity, cultural competency, and social justice, particularly how these factors influence physical activity choices and performance in physical education and sport contexts. His scholarship has significantly deepened our understanding of the racial labels often ascribed to specific sports and physical activities, as well as how these labels affect participation, persistence, and performance. As a highly respected scholar, Dr. Harrison is an active fellow in the National Academy of Kinesiology. He also has held fellowships in the North American Society for the Society of Sport, NAS, the Society for Health Physical Education, or SHAPE America, and the Institute for Urban Policy Research and Analysis at the University of Texas. He has numerous honors for all of his scholarly contributions, including scholar awards from the Louisiana Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance, the Southern District Alliance for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance, and the SHAPE America. He is also the recipient of the E.B. Henderson, Charles B. Henry, and Luther Halsey Gulick Awards from SHAPE America, and has delivered both the Raymond A. Weiss and SHAPE America Scholar Lectures. In addition to his academic career, Dr. Harrison was ordained into the gospel ministry in 2005. He has also served as an associate minister at New Hope Baptist Church in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and served as the pastor of Pleasant Bethany Baptist Church in Elgin, Texas. He currently serves as an associate minister at Greater Mount Zion Baptist Church in Houston, Texas. Jokingly, I said to him, it doesn't sound like you've really retired. You just went from serving one institution to another, but it's amazing how our lives kind of parallel. Both of us are clergy people, active in the church. Both of us have been pastors. I'm getting ready to do some things. Let's put it like that. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag yet. But in any event, please take the time, stop, get to know this guy. He's incredible. Absolutely, positively incredible. So as he comes forward, please welcome our keynoter for this afternoon, Dr. Lewis Harrison, Jr.
Good afternoon. I don't know what to say after that introduction, but I definitely want to say thank you to Dr. Waller, to Dr. Putz for this opportunity. I've been overwhelmed since I've been here. I realize now that I've been in a little silo at the University of Texas in terms of the research that I was doing, and that there are people here that are doing fantastic research that I wish I would have been apprised to when I was going through. I'm not going to go back to work, though. Retirement's been too good to me. But I am grateful again for this opportunity. One of the things I want to start off with is this idea when I look at my life. And Steve told me to tell y'all my story, okay? That's what I'm trying to do here. But just recently, I've come to a harsh reality. that next month, I'm not going to be considered middle-aged anymore. I'm going to be 70 years old. So it's kind of made me step back and take a look at life a little bit differently. And God knows what he's doing, because I'm thinking about all these things and thinking about getting older. And I opened my computer the other day and just happened upon a message from Dr. Tony Evans that talked about old age is not a time to quit. Wonderful message, and it really made me think that the fact that the part of me that will live forever is in its infancy and just getting started. So 70, I guess I'm still young. And also want to remember that there are a lot of games that have been lost in the fourth quarter, so I have to be careful. Throughout my life, I've experienced some what I call identity paradoxes. I grew up poor. Neither of my parents finished high school. And now I'm certainly not rich, but I don't have to live from paycheck to paycheck, and that's very comfortable to me. When I was in high school, there were low expectations for my achievement. My high school guidance counselor told me that I wasn't college material and I should consider going to trade school. Not that there's anything wrong with trade school, but I thought I could do a little bit better than that. Grew up like a lot of young black kids wanting to be a professional athlete. I was going to make it to the pros and buy my mom a house. You've probably heard that over and over again from young black kids. And now I've been engaged in research over the years that warns people of these overinflated aspirations of going pro. When I finished my master's degree, I went to a regional university in Louisiana. It was USL, it's ULL now, Louisiana Lafayette, where I realized that if I wanted to go further, I had to get a PhD. So I asked my boss to write me a letter of recommendation to get into the PhD program at LSU. And he said, Lewis, you know, a PhD is not for everybody. Okay. So obviously I got the PhD. And I grew up Catholic. Staunchly Catholic family, but now I'm in Protestant ministry. So my life has kind of been full of paradoxes. I was a full professor at the University of Texas, one of the top universities in the country, and I don't say that to brag, but the fact is, the paradox is, I got called to pastor a little church in Elgin, Texas. So I'm working in this big university, and then on the weekends and on Wednesday nights for Bible study, I'm going to this little church to pastor. So again, I think all of these things have allowed me to develop a widely varied identity. I've been in a lot of different places in a lot of different contexts, and it's helped me, I think, in this work that I've been doing. When I first started in academia, everybody was asking the question back then, you know, why are blacks so fast, and why are they so good at basketball, and why are they so good at football? And you know, I was thinking, well, why don't we get some research to figure out why? But people were coming up with all of these ideas, and it's obvious. I mean, when you look at the data from Richard Lapchick's Racial and Gender Report Card. If you're not familiar with that data set, it's a wonderful data set where you can get lots of, if you like numbers, there's lots of numbers there. He gives you all the numbers of people in different positions and in different sports, all the information you could ever want about college and professional sport. You can find the numbers there. But these numbers are the reason why people come up with these ideas about why African Americans tend to excel in particular sports. Because there's 70% of the NBA, more than half of the NFL, more than half of men and women, a large part of men's and women's basketball, while only being a little more than 12% of the population of this country. So there is something going on, but what? Well, this overrepresentation people have tried to explain this in a lot of different ways. And I got kind of turned on earlier when I read David Wiggins wrote an article some time ago, I think back in the 80s. Great speed, but little stamina. The history of the African American athlete. And I read that, and I didn't realize this information was available. People were coming up with all of these theories, but most of those theories didn't really hold water. There were people who were saying that black people had a projecting heel bone, so it allowed them to push off more and allowed them to be faster. And there's some were coming up with psychological saying black people were angry at the way white people were treating us, so they did better in sport to show. I mean, just all kinds of theories that to explain why black people were overrepresented in particular sports. But what I found was that when you look and dig into these theories, most of them were really oversimplifications. And they were going by people's observations, not necessarily data from the trenches. And I wanted to find out, I mean, I know it's a touchy subject. I know it's a sensitive issue, but we're supposed to be researchers. We're supposed to look for truth. So we needed to find out the truth, the objective truth now, not what somebody thought, okay? But a lot of these explanations that people were coming up with really dissolved when you examine them very closely, okay? So my quest kind of sent me into the area of stereotypes. Now, I know everybody knows what a stereotype is. We all talk about stereotypes. But I really want to get into it. I really wanted to find out how stereotypes work. And in my graduate program, my minor was psychology, so I got a chance to take a whole course on stereotypes. And I learned a lot of information that I guess we don't really take into account when we look at stereotypes. Or we really don't understand stereotypes to the depth that they really go. We know what a stereotype is. We impose characteristics on people based on their group membership or their perceived group membership, okay? But the thing about stereotypes is we don't have a lot of control over that because it's encoded subconsciously. We don't think about it. We don't say, I'm going to stereotype you. No, it's done automatically. It's part of our the way our minds work. And that's not bad, okay? Because sometimes you have to make decisions about things and you don't have time to go into a lot of detail, okay? But the problem is when we stereotype people and don't give them an opportunity to correct the stereotype, we hold on to the stereotype so tightly that it causes us sometimes to see people in the wrong way or to mistreat people or to miscategorize people or sometimes never get to know how a person really is because we've already decided who they are. Okay? They're subconsciously encoded and they're automatically retrieved. We don't think about this. This is below the conscious level. And when we stereotype a person and they don't fit the stereotype, what we do, instead of changing our idea about the stereotype, we simply break them off and put them in a separate category. Okay? I just met this young man this morning. I'm trying to remember your name. Jackson, yeah. Jackson's nice guy. Sat next to me, said hello to me. But what if somebody told me, man, Jackson's not the typical white guy. He can really dance. He's got rhythm. Okay, but if I believe that all white people can't dance and they don't have rhythm, instead of changing my idea about white people, I say, oh, Jackson is just different. He's not like the others. Anybody ever hear that before? Oh, you're different. You're not. What they're saying is, I'm not going to change my stereotype. I'm simply going to put you in a different category. And we do that all the time. Again, unconsciously. So we have to realize that stereotypes cause us to look for what we already believe. I want to show you a little video here. And if you've seen this, don't mess it up for other people, okay?
How many passes does the team in white make?
Go!
Even though you know the answer, try to count them.
The answer is 13.
Anybody get it right?
But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Go!
Okay, now does it make sense? A lot of times we miss things because we're not looking for them. There are things there that are there that we don't see, and sometimes we see things sometimes that aren't there. I got another one too. Okay, it's right here right now. Go ahead. Short video, it's about 5 minutes, and I think it says it a lot better than I can, and that's the reason I'm using this.
Are certain races smarter? Those are the stereotypes, but now some psychologists say stereotypes can become self-fulfilling prophecies.
What's the ratio here of cute guys to like me?
Ever see this ad depicting a ditzy woman trying to get into college?
What are your plans for the future?
Like when are the homecoming queen elections?
One study showed that women who watched ads like this before taking a math test scored 38% lower than women who didn't see the ad. The Kaplan Education and Test Prep Company helped us run similar tests. And sure enough, in our unscientific test, the women who saw the sexist commercials did worse. Some later told us they found those results hard to believe. It's so powerful that just watching the dumb ad could make a difference?
No. I don't think so.
The women in your group did worse.
The only way for it to work is that you have to internalize it.
I guess you don't know what's really affecting you, which is creepy in and of itself.
This stereotype effect has been found in study after study, says NYU psychology professor Joshua Aronson.
We found that just reminding the women that they were college students at a selective college overcame the gender gap. However, when we remind them that they're women, the gap widens.
You tell Asians that, remember, Asians do well in math?
Yes.
Their scores go up?
Yes.
Then what does the stereotype that blacks test poorly do to a black person who's about to take a test?
The situation of taking an IQ test for a black kid is so loaded that it's not a direct measure of their intelligence.
He found he could change blacks' test scores simply by saying different things before the test.
Tell people taking that test that this isn't a test at all, it's a puzzle. The black students' scores jump dramatically. Mindset matters.
That was also found in golf experiments, as demonstrated here, done by Jeff Stone at the University of Arizona.
The test is designed to measure personal factors correlated with natural athletic ability.
First, black and white students are told a miniature golf game tests athletic ability.
Natural athletic ability. Natural athletic ability.
After hearing that, blacks perform better. Blacks, after all, have heard plenty about blacks being natural athletes.
I'm confident in my ability, so when I heard it was a test of that, I was like, okay, well, I know I'm going to score somewhere in the high range to see how high I can go with this. Oh!
But when students were told the golf game is a test of intelligence,
The test is designed to measure personal factors correlated with sports intelligence.
his study found the black scores were 18% worse.
Oh, come on.
Some of this research showing that stereotypes can become self-fulfilling prophecies was inspired by Jane Elliott's surprising experience.
It might be interesting to judge people today by the color of their eyes. Would you like to try this?
Almost 40 years ago, this Iowa school teacher decided she'd show the kids what it was like to live with discrimination. So she divided her classes by eye color. ABC happened to be there to film one of her tests.
I mean, the blue-eyed people are the better people in this room. Oh, yes, they are. This is a fact. Blue-eyed people are better than brown-eyed people.
She had the so-called inferior brown-eyed group wear these identifying collars. She told them they were lazy and slow and they'd have shorter recess.
Brown-eyed people are not to play with the blue-eyed people on the playground.
The kids' behavior soon changed. Brown-eyed kids were miserable. The next day, she reversed the roles.
Yesterday, I told you that brown-eyed people aren't as good as blue-eyed people. That wasn't true. The truth is that brown-eyed people are better than blue-eyed people.
Then she gave them a flashcard test.
Okay, want to be timed this morning? Yeah!
After the brown-eyed kids had been labeled inferior, it took them 5 minutes to finish the flashcards. But the next day, when they were the superior group, they finished in half the time.
I had no idea that you could change a child's academic performance. It never occurred to me that that would really work. On the day the kids were on the top, their academic performance was better than it had ever been before in my classroom.
So, some of you may have seen that video before. Anybody? Okay, a few, yeah, several people. But it shows you the power of stereotypes. Now, if she could change those kids in a day, imagine what a lifetime of stereotypes would do. So, when I realized that stereotypes were powerful, but I also think that they had a big impact on how we see ourselves. So I started to look at identity issues, racial identity and athletic identity. Again, racial identity, just how you see yourself as a member of a racial group, and athletic identity is how you see yourself in terms of being an athlete. And I tried, look at that, there's a relationship between those two, particularly for black boys. Now, again, I'll have to go with Graham. Graham said last night he studied boys, I studied males also. And that's not to say information on females is not important. I think that needs to be done also. It's just that, well, I'm retired now, so I don't have time to do anymore. And also, I thought it was interesting, a researcher by the name of Marcus and Cross, they looked at the development of competence, how people become competent in particular activities. First, people would possess and display that ability, and construct an identity around their ability. But another way people can develop competence is to have a perception of their competence based on the group that they are a part of. And that will organize their actions to actually develop the competence that they believe they should have. Okay? What we find is these perceptions serve as a catalyst to develop skills and abilities that we view are self-defining. If I'm supposed to know how to do this, then I'm going to organize my actions and practice and learn how to do this. Okay? So, again, we can see how that can have an impact on young black boys. If I'm supposed to be a baller, if I'm supposed to be a good football player, a basketball player, then I'm going to spend the time that it takes to develop those skills so that I can be what I want to be. Another influence there is the idea of adolescence. A lot of papers and things that I've heard talk about this issue around adolescence. Adolescence is a time when young people start to develop strong feelings of group membership, okay? And their identity development becomes a part of that group membership. And that group may be a sport group, okay? For young black boys, especially where I grew up, we didn't have any places to play tennis, but we had basketball courts. And to be the man, you had to be a good basketball player. So people would spend time playing basketball, okay? And then these sports skills, again, would determine whether you were accepted into the group, okay? Not only that, but black kids have lots of role models in the sport area, okay? And I put that picture on the bottom. Brandon Crooms, my student, told me that's outdated, but it's a stereotypic photo, and that's what I wanted to show. Because young black boys don't look at somebody like me or Dr. Crooms or Dr. Waller as, oh, that's what I want to be like. They look at basketball players, they look at football players, because they want to be able to say, I can be accepted even if I've got dreadlocks, even if I'm wearing a big gold chain, even if I've got gold teeth or whatever I want to do. I'm accepted if I can play basketball. That's this place where I can be accepted. I don't have to lose myself to go into the corporate boardroom. I've got to get rid of all of that stuff if I'm going to be a CEO somewhere. But if I'm going to be a baller, I can keep all of that stuff. I can, as some would say, stay true to who I am. So we had this athletic identity for young black boys that, and this kind of shows there are some benefits. A strong athletic identity will help you to be a better athlete, okay? Gives you confidence in yourself, positive effect on your performance, and it causes me to screen out those things that might get in the way or take up the time that I need to develop my game. But on the other side, I'm going to have some difficulties when I change careers or when I move from that sport. I'm going to have some problems when I have to adjust at the end of my athletic career, and that's what we call identity foreclosure. And I've heard that several times at this conference, people dealing with the problem of identity foreclosure. And I believe all athletes have to deal with that, but I think the black athlete, young black males, have to deal with it on what I believe is a different level. I'm going to show you another video that many of you probably seen this before, but it's from Friday Night Lights. If you've seen the movie, for those of you who haven't seen it, I'm going to set it up a little bit. Boobie Miles is the star running back for the team. He's, an awesome running back. He hurts his knee, tears his ACL, tries to come back, doesn't work out. Now he's got to quit the team. And here he is coming in. He's going to come in to get his stuff out of his locker. And that's him. Look at the imagery.
What's up, Waterbug?
What's up, Boobie?
Waterbug! Playoffs belong to you, baby.
I'll make you proud.
What y'all looking at? Play your ass off. Win state. Be perfect, all that shit. This is a gift for you. It's gonna be worth a lot of money.
I bet it will.
You be perfect, preacher man.
So,
Now what we gonna do? I can't do nothing else but play football.
Hey, don't worry about that.
Don't worry about it. I can't be doing nothing else. I can't do nothing else but play football. What? We practiced, did we? We practiced. You told me you was gonna go to the pros. I thought I was gonna do it on my knee.
Somebody else. Don't worry about it, son.
No, I went down to my house.
That's a movie. But I've seen that scene play out too many times in real life. I have had athletes tell me time and time again, Doc, this is all I got. And I've heard that same phrase from several athletes. Doc, this all I got. I said, no, it's not all you have. I said, you realize you're in a top university in this country with the opportunity to get an education and not have to worry about paying for it. Sports is not all you got. And I just try to pound that into their heads. There's a few of them that listen, but a lot of them, they really think they've grown up with this idea that sports is all they have. So some of my graduate students and I decided to really do something. We wanted to get some real numbers, something to be able to say to the research world, not just what we heard, but something that we can tell to the research world about these athletes. Well, first of all, I did this when I was at LSU. We had 109 athletes from, obviously, that school. And we gave them the AIMS. Some of you might be familiar with that, the Athletic Identity Measurement Scale. And that's the whole scale. And what we did the statistical analysis, and there was a significant difference between black athletes and white athletes on this scale. But there were 3 items that were especially significant. One, I spend more time thinking about my sport than anything else. Other people see me mainly as an athlete. And the one that had the largest difference, sport is the only important thing in my life. These athletes were, in my opinion, heading for disaster. Someone earlier in one of the other sessions was talking about the number of athletes that don't go. We look at the ones that do, but there are thousands of athletes that will not make it to the next level. What are we going to do with them? Now, you have what I think is the confluence, what I call the confluence of influence in terms of identity development in young black males. We have all of these different pressure points, these different forces moving them into the sport world, thinking that that's going to be the end all and be all. I had one grad student that followed a AAU basketball team. And when he interviewed them, he said the only people that talked to them about anything academic were their parents, the coaches, the people all the people that cheered for them, the other players. Nobody talked about academics except their parents. So again, and for some kids, they don't even get that from their parents. So when we look at this, think about it. Where else can a young black man get that kind of response? I've had athletes that tell me that there are white boosters who love them, want to be around them, shake their hand, want to take them to their houses, and all of that. Would that happen if they weren't football players? Y'all scare me, it's quiet. So, moving on, I had another graduate student who was a former athlete, played college and professional ball for a few years, actually played with the Colts when they won the Super Bowl, so he's got a big Super Bowl ring. And when we talked about issues of identity, and I have a class that I used to teach that on the African American athlete. He said, when I talk about stuff about identity, he said he wanted to get up and run out of the class because it triggered him. It brought back such bad memories for him. And Dr. Crooms can tell you, we had a panel of former athletes in the class one time. And when they start talking about that athlete losing their athletic identity, one guy was actually crying up on the stage in front of a class of 100 students. And they're crying. He said, I never thought about that. He said, it hurt me when I had to give up sports. And there was another guy, an older gentleman, said that he had the gun to his head, about to pull the trigger. And then he thought about his kids, and he put it down. Honestly, folks, I didn't think it went that deep, but it does for a lot of people. So, this same student, Albert Bemper, he's actually the executive dean at University of North Texas now. But we wanted to find out, what is it about those successful athletes? What about those who do well both athletically and academically? Let's find out what's going on with them. Well, just a brief synopsis of what we found is that these guys valued education as a tool for liberation. They sought refuge in a community that positively contributed to their success academically and athletically. That sounds like you guys. And they had complex identities. They weren't just athletes. They knew that they were more than just athletes. And they fared better than those who only thought they were athletes. So I have this another short video that I found, and I was very impressed with what
you went through, and you've
Carmelo
been through,
Anthony said.
A global pandemic, social unrest, uncertainty about the world, and yet here you are, stronger, smarter, more resilient than ever. But let me tell you something that I've learned since leaving Syracuse. Your path won't be a straight line, and that's okay. When I left for the NBA, I thought basketball would be my whole story, but life had other plans. I found myself just drawn to other passions, business, philanthropy, storytelling. I became an entrepreneur. I started a podcast. I started boardrooms. I stepped into boardrooms and took conversations about culture, ownership, equity, and I realized that I was more than just an athlete. And so are you. More than just your major, more than your resume, more than others expect you to be. You don't have to fit in a box, and I want to tell you that. You don't have to fit in a box. You can have multiple careers, you can change directions, you can evolve again and again, as long as you keep chasing what sets your soul on fire. But one thing, as you chase your dreams, don't forget where you came from. And don't forget the people who helped you get there. You went through, and you've been through, a global pandemic.
All right, which leads me to where I want to end up, this idea of Christian identity. And all of the students that I've mentored over the years brought something to me and taught me a lot. And Dr. Crooms was my last student, and he brought me into this world, this idea of Christian identity. He taught me much about this. Again, I was in my little research silo, and then I was going to church and preaching on Sundays, and then I wasn't bringing those two together. So I've got the opportunity now, thanks to Brandon Crooms, to bring those two together and recognize that what we do on Sunday bleeds over into Monday through Friday also. And I just want to leave with this. Hopefully, we'll get more high-status athletes that will have the courage to say these things, that will hopefully move some young people away, not away from sport, but to recognize that they're more than just their sport. They're more than just athletes. They're human beings and acknowledging and believing and giving their lives to Jesus Christ is the strongest identity that they can have.